a brutally honest message, and the guys that are full won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes, nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film.
You know, I would love to sit down with some of these owners in the NBA and just pick their brain, just ask some questions, really try to understand their logic. For the life of me, I can't understand why you would fire your head coach literally in the month when the playoffs are about to start. It just doesn't make any sense. So let's take a look at this tweet from NBA Central, and I had to make sure this wasn't the Central parody account, because when I'm reading, the Denver Nuggets ownership is hoping that the firings of Michael Malone and Calvin Booth, their GM, will give the team a jolt to make a run in the playoffs. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're going to have to hire a new coach in the playoffs, which means the team is going to have to adjust to his own philosophies, his coaching style, substitute patterns. Even if this is a coach that was on the staff already, there's still an adjustment period. Why not wait until after the playoffs if you're really trying to win a championship? There's continuity, familiarity, these things matter. Or was it his fiery passion and delivery when he normally says things about the team that got him in trouble where they just wanted to get rid of him? I don't know. Let's go into NBA Today, play some clips, and I'm going to react to what they got to say.
Malika, the way the season was going, 4 straight losses in a row, and just what has gone on the last couple of years with what's been described to me as a Cold War between Michael Malone and Calvin Booth, the Nuggets believed that something needed to change. Now, they were likely going to dismiss one or the other come the offseason. So Josh Kroenke and the Nuggets decided to just get it over with now, seeing how the team is performing. But listen, everyone was shocked by the timing of this. That includes Michael Malone, Calvin Booth themselves. The players, I'm told, had a meeting where Josh Kroenke addressed them after the dismissal. He decided to flip the culture, didn't want to wait. He wanted to inject some life going into the playoffs, because this is a team that, like you said, has struggled a little bit the second half of the year. They've dropped the defensive rating.
Hearing this explanation from Shams, I'm getting the same feeling that I got when the Memphis Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins. It's near the playoffs. Your team, in this case the Denver Nuggets, are 4th in the West. Every team really from 3 to 8 in the Western Conference has similar wins, 46 to 48. So they're on a 4-game losing streak. Jamal Murray has been injured. They're talking about the coach and the GM having some little friction. All right, cool. But whatever that friction was, the playoffs are about to start. The GM can't make any significant moves to the roster. It is what it is at this point. The trade deadline has already passed, obviously. So why would you be worried about them not getting along? He just got to sit back and watch his team and the roster that he gave them to head into the playoffs to get a championship. And you heard Shams basically confirm what the NBA Central tweet was saying, and the owners expressing wanted to give the team a jolt in order to get into the playoffs. You know what this sounds like to me? They didn't believe that they were going to win a championship in the first place. Whether they fire the coach or not, I think that's just a really good excuse where, okay, if it doesn't work out, we can say things were being done on the fly, and now we get to go into the off season with this new coach. And then on the flip side, if it does work out, hey, we told you. But if it doesn't, things were really bad. The coach wasn't getting along with the GM. We just had to do this now. That's my opinion. Y'all can tell me if you think I'm wrong. Let's continue with what these guys had to say here.
Michael Malone, was very rough on his players. He screamed at his players. He called rage timeouts. He would yell at them in film sessions. He would yell at them in the locker room. He would yell at them in huddles. Their players all got tired of it over the course of time. Why it would be any different now when they're on this 4-game losing streak as opposed to 5 years ago, to 5 weeks ago? I can't answer that.
He's been lost the ears of this locker room. We have been seeing the frustration in Nikola Jokic. I always say, if you want to see how a team feels about their coach, watch their effort and watch them defensively. How many times has Michael Malone had to call his team out for not competing at a high level on the defensive side of things?
At the beginning of this clip, I showed you the Mike Malone video where he was on the podium saying, I had a really paraphrasing, honest, raw conversation with some of the players. They ain't gonna like it, but the ones who really understand are gonna get what I'm trying to do. We've all seen a lot of Mike Malone interviews where he's really going in, just expressing himself how he feels. He's a very passionate dude. I can see that part being true, that maybe he was very overbearing and the guys in the locker room were like, man, you know what, I ain't trying to hear all this anymore. But in his defense, he did defend a lot of his players too. Anytime he wanted to stick up for those guys or felt like they were getting slighted, he had a lot to say as well. It went both ways. There was a recent video where he was arguing why Nikola Jokic should be MVP. There was also a moment in the 2023 playoffs, the one that the Denver Nuggets eventually went on to win the NBA championship, where Michael Malone was saying Jamal Murray was really in tears and just upset because he tore his ACL. He thought that the Denver Nuggets were eventually going to move on and just trade him. And Michael Malone said, hell no, like, you're ours. We're not going to get rid of you.
Going to the airport after he did the injury in Golden State the next day, and he had tears in his eyes, and that was the message. Hey man, you're going to come back from this, and not only are you going to come back, you're going to be better. And that's in that moment, it's really hard to believe that. His first thought was, man, are you guys going to trade me? And that was his, I'm damaged goods, are you guys going to trade me now? And I hugged him, I said, hell no, like, you're ours.
So to me, Mike Malone comes across as a very polarizing figure. I can imagine that there's a lot of players behind closed doors who really like him and how he defends the guys, and also who hate the way he coaches. I could see that being both things true at the same time. The real question moving forward for the Denver Nuggets ownership is, what are you expecting? That a new coach is all of a sudden just going to magically get them a championship? If they do, hats off. I'll make a video saying I was questioning them. I never saw this happening. But when I'm looking at their roster and the payroll, Nikola Jokic is on a huge contract. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, who between those three is making the least annually at about $40 million a year. What could you really do to even change the roster without overhauling it, if that's what you're worried about as well, which is why they fired their GM. Now, Brian Windhorst did mention that there was some key role players that the GM let go, veteran pieces that probably rubbed Michael Malone the wrong way. The point is, you got to trade at least one of those three guys if you're trying to make a big move. You saw what happened with the Phoenix Suns. They had Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. They got swept out of the playoffs by the Timberwolves last year. They fired Frank Vogel. They hired a new coach in Mike Budenholzer, who's a good coach as well. Now they're not even going to make the playoffs. I think they got eliminated out of the contention of making it. I'm going to leave things right there. Hit me up in the comment section, especially if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. Do you agree with this? And beyond agreeing in terms of, yeah, he needed to be fired, I mean, at this particular time, if you're on the other side of the coin that I believe most people are, looking at this and wondering what are the Nuggets doing, let me know if I missed something, if there's anything else you would want to talk about as to why this makes this even more puzzling. All right, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, salute for listening. Peace.